Hello students, I am Prashant Sahu. Today I am going to discuss an exciting and learning episode in B Pharma on an important unit which is known as plant tissue culture, in which we will discuss many important aspects of tissue culture, nutritional requirements, growth and application of plant tissue culture. Let's start our episode with look at what we are going to learn today. That is, we will learn today module number 1, that is history of plant tissue culture, module number 2, types of plant tissue culture, module number 3, that is nutritional requirements, and remaining part of module 4, 5 and 6 we study in our next learning episode. So here comes a starting module 1, that is history of plant tissue culture. The science of plant tissue culture takes its roots from the discovery of cell, followed by propounding of cell theory. In 1838, Schleiden and Schwann proposed that cell is the basic structural unit of all living organism. They visualize that cell is capable of autonomy and therefore it should be possible for each cell, if given an environment, to regenerate into whole plant. Based on this premise, in 1902, a German physiologist, Gottlieb Herbaland, for the first time attempted to culture isolated single palisade cell from leaves in Knoop salt solution enriched with sucrose. The cell remained alive for up to 1 month, increased in size, accumulated starch but failed to divide. Though he was unsuccessful but laid down the foundation of tissue culture, technology for which he is regarded as the father of plant tissue culture. After that, some of the landmark discoveries took place in tissue culture, which are summarized as under. In 1902, Herbaland proposed concept of in vitro cell culture. In 1904, Hanning cultured embryos from several cruciferous species. Coming towards in 1922, Colt and Robbins successfully cultured root and stem tips respectively. In 1926, Wendt discovered from plant growth hormone indole acetic acid. In 1934, White introduced vitamin B as growth supplement in tissue culture media for tomato root tips. In 1939, Gottfried White and Norbert established endless proliferation of callus culture. In 1941, Overbeek was first to add coconut milk for cell division in Datura. In 1946, Ball raised whole plant of Lupinus by short tip culture. In 1954, Muir was first to break callus tissue into single cells. In 1955, Skoog and Miller discovered kinetin as cell division hormone. In 1957, again Skoog and Miller gave concept of hormonal control, auxin cytokinin, of organ formation. In 1959, Rennert and Stewart regenerated embryos from callus clump and cells. Suspension of carrot, that is Doscius carota. 1960, Cocking was first to isolate protoplast by enzymatic degradation of cell wall. In 1960, Bergman filtered cell suspension and isolated single cell by plating. In 1960 again, Kanta and Maheshwari developed test tube fertilization technique. Moving towards in 1962, Marshegg and Skoog developed MS medium with higher salt concentration. In 1964, Guha and Maheshwari produced first haploid plant from pollen or grain of datura, that is biologically known as anther culture. 1966, Stewart demonstrated totipotency by regenerating carrot plant from single cell of tomato. In 1970, Power et al. Successfully achieved protoplast fusion. In 1971, Tegbe and al. Regenerated first plant from protoplast. In 1972, Carlson produced first interspecific hybrid of Nicotiana tabactum by protoplast fusion. In 1974, Reed Harden introduced biotransformation in plant tissue culture. In 1977, Chilton et al. Successfully integrated diplasmid DNA from Agrobacterium tumefications in plants. 1978, Melchers et al. Carried out some somatic hybridization of tomato and potato resulting in pomato. In 1981, Larkin and Scovart introduced the term somational variation. In 1983, Pellicer et al. Conducted integrated cytoplasmic hybridization in radish and grape. In 1984, Horsch et al. Developed transgenic tobacco by transformation with Agrobacterium. In 1987, Klein et al. Developed biolostic gene transfer method for plant transformation. In 2005, rice genome sequenced under International Rice Genome Sequencing Project. Moving ahead to the module number 2, that is types of plant tissue culture. The first is callus and suspension culture. In callus culture, cell division in explant forms a callus. Callus is irregular, unorganized and undifferentiated mass of actively dividing cells. Darkness and solid medium gelled by agar stimulates callus formation. The medium ordinarily contains the auxin, that is 2,4-D, 2,4-dichlorophenoxyacetic acid, and often a cytokinin like BAP, that is benzyl aminopurine. Both are growth regulators. This stimulates cell division in explants. Callus is obtained within 2 to 3 weeks. A suspension culture consists of single cells and small group of cells suspend in a liquid medium. Usually, the medium contains the auxin 2,4-D. Suspension cultures must be constantly agitated at 100 to 250 rpm revolutions per minute. Suspension cultures grow much faster than callus culture. Subculturing. If tissue cultures are kept in the same culture vessel, they die in due course of time. Therefore, cells or tissue are regularly transferred into new culture vessels containing fresh media. This process is called subculturing. It is important to note that during subculture, only a part of the culture from a vessel is transferred into the new culture vessel. The callus and suspension cultures may be used to achieve cell biomass production, regeneration of plantlets, production of transgenic plants, and isolation of protoplast, which is explained in the given figure which is flashing on your screen. Moving towards the single cell culture, that is cell cloning. As stated earlier, cells derived from a single cell through mitosis constitute a clone, and the process of containing clone is called cloning, that is asexual. Progeny of a single individual make up a clone. There are two popular techniques for single cell culture. First, Bergman's plating technique. This is widely used technique. The cells are suspended in a liquid medium at a cell density that is twice the desired density in the plate. Sterilized agar containing calcium 1% medium is kept malted in a water bath at 35 degrees Celsius of temperature. Equal volume of the liquid and agar media are mixed and spread in a calcium 1 mm thick layer in a petri dish. The cells remain embedded in the soft agar medium, which is observable under a microscope. When large colonies develop, they are isolated and cultured separately. Second, filter paper Raffner tissue technique. Single cells are placed on small pieces, that is 8 into 8 mm of size of filter paper, which are placed on top of callus cultures several days in advance. This allows the filter paper to be wetted by the callus tissue. The single cell placed on the filter paper derive their nutrition from the callus. The cells divide and form macroscopic colonies on the filters. The colonies are isolated and cultured. Shoot and root cultures. Shoot culture is promoted by a cytokinin like BAR. However, root culture is promoted by an auxin like NAA, that is naphthalene acetic acid. The shoot and root cultures are generally controlled by auxin cytokinin balance. Usually, an excess of auxin promotes root cultures, whereas that of cytokinin promotes shoot culture. Root cultures from the lower end of these shoots to give complete plantlets. Somatic embryo culture. A somatic embryo develops from a somatic cell. The pattern of development of a somatic embryo is comparable to that of a zygotic embryo. Somatic embryo culture is induced by a high concentration of an auxin, such as 2,4-D. These embryos develop into mature embryos. Mature somatic embryos or embroids germinate to give complete plantlets. Establishment in the field. The plantlets are removed from culture vessels and established in the field. This transfer is done by specific procedure that is called hardening. During hardening, plantlets are kept under reduced light and high humidity. Hardening procedures make the plantlets capable of tolerating the relatively harsher environments outside the culture vessels. Moving towards endosperm culture. Tissue culture methods are also used for culturing endosperm. It is unique because it supplies nutrition to the developing embryo. It is also triploid in its chromosome constitution. Triploid plants are used for the production of seedless fruit. For examples like apple, banana, etc. The technique of endosperm culture involves the following points. That is, number 1, the immature seeds are dissected under aseptic condition. Endosperm along with embryos are excised. Sometimes mature seed can also be used. The point number 2 reflects the excised endosperms are cultured on a suitable medium and embryos are removed after initial growth. Moving ahead for point number 3, the initial callus phase is developed. Point 4, the shoot and roots may develop and complete triploid plant are formed for further use. Meristem culture. Meristem is a localized group of cells which are actively dividing and undifferentiated but ultimately giving rise to permanent tissue. Although the plant is infected with a virus, yet the meristem is free of virus. Therefore, meristem can be removed and grown in vitro to obtain virus-free plants. Cultivation of axillary or apical shoot meristem is called meristem culture. The apical or axillary meristems are generally free from virus. Meristem culture involves the development of an already existing shoot meristem and subsequently the regeneration of adventitious root from the developed shoots. It is usually does not involve the regeneration of a new shoot meristem. The explants commonly used in meristem culture are shoot tips and nodal segment. These explants are cultured on a medium containing a cytokinin that is generally BAP. The plantlets thus obtained are subjected to hardening and ultimately established in the Fiddy meristem. Culture is carried out in potato, banana, cardamom, orchids, that is also called protocom stage, sugarcane, strawberry, sweet potato, etc. It is used in first, production of virus-free plant like potato, sugarcane, banana and apple. Second, germplasm conservations. Third, production of transgenic plants. Fourth, rapid clonal multiplication. Anther culture and haploid production. An individual or cell having the chromosome number found in the gametes of the species is called haploid. Formation of haploid is called haploid production. Thus, haploid individuals arise from the gametes. A haploid has only one copy of each chromosome. Haploids are sterile and of no direct value. The whole method is collectively described in the figure and the flowchart which is flashing on your screen. When the chromosome number of a haploid plant is doubled, the plants of normal chromosome number for particular species are obtained. These plants are homozygous and are produced in 2 to 3 years. The chromosome number of these haploid plant is doubled by using colchicine to obtain homozygous plants. In nature, haploid plants originate from unfertilized egg cells, but in laboratory they can be produced from both male and female gametes. Anther is the part of the flower of angiosperms producing pollen, that is microspores, born at the end of the stamen and usually consisting of 4 sporangia. When anthers of some plants are cultured on a suitable medium to produce haploid plants, it is called anther culture. The technique was developed by Guha and Maheshwari in 1964, who cultured mature anthers of Datura inoxia. It is highly useful for the improvement of many crop plants. It is also useful for immediate expression of mutations and quick formation of purulines. This technique was first used in India to produce haploids of Datura. In many plants, haploids are also produced by culturing unfertilized ovaries or ovules. Sometimes pollen grains are separated from anthers and cultured on suitable medium. Moving towards embryo culture. Culturing young embryos on a nutrient medium is called embryo culture. Young embryos are obtained from the developing seeds. The embryos completely their development on the medium and grow into seedlings. In general, older embryos are more easily cultured in vitro than young embryos. Embryo culture is useful as follows, which are described in following points. First, orchid seeds do not have any form of stored foods. Embryos of such seeds can be cultured to obtain seedlings, and maximum seedlings formation can be achieved. Embryo culture in orchids can be applied for rapid clonal propagation. Point number 2. In certain species, inhibitors present in the endosperm or seed coat make the seed dormant. Such embryo can escape dormancy by culturing on a suitable medium. Point number 3. In certain hybrid seeds developed after interspecific crosses, the endosperm degenerates at an early stage and the young embryo is left with no food. Consequently, it also dies. Such young embryos can be excised from the seeds and cultured on the nutritive medium. Getting nutrition, they developed into seedling, which can be transplanted in the field. Point number 4. A popular example includes hybridization of barley and wheat with Hordeum bulbosum, leading to the production of haploid barley and haploid wheats respectively. Haploid wheat plant have also been successfully obtained through culture of hybrid embryos from wheat X-maize crosses. Ovule culture. Ovule culture technique is utilized for raising hybrids which normally fail to develop due to the absorption of the embryos at an early stage. Ovules can be easily be excised from the ovary and cultured on the basal medium. The loss of a hybrid embryo due to premature abscissions of fruit may be prevented by ovule culture. In some cases, addition of fruit and vegetable juice increases the initial growth. Ovary culture. Ovary culture technique has also been successfully employed to raise interspecific hybrids between sexually incompatible species. Brassica campestris and B. ulceris ovaries are excised from the flowers and cultured at the zygote of two-celled pre-embryo stage for obtaining normal development on culture medium. Sometimes coconut milk, when used as supplement to the medium, promote formation of fruits that are larger than those formed in vivo within the living organism. In Anthidium, addition of kinetin in the medium caused polyembryony, which gave rise to multiple shoots. Micropropagation. Micropropagation is the tissue culture technique used for rapid vegetative multiplication of ornamental plants and fruits, trees by using small-sized explants. Because of minute size of the ovules in the culture, the propagation technique is named as micropropagation. This method of tissue culture produces several plants. Each of these plants will be genetically identical to the original plant from where they were grown. The genetically identical plants developed from any part of the plant by tissue culture micropropagation are called somaclones. The member of a single somaclone have the same genotype. This micropropagation is also known as somaclonal propagation. It is the only process adopted by Indian plant biotechnologists in different industries, mainly for the commercial production of ornamental plants like lily, orchids, eucalyptus, cinchona, blueberry, etc., and fruit trees like tomato, apple, banana, grapes, potato, citral oil palm, etc. There are 4 defined steps in micropropagation method. These are: first, initiation of culture from an explant like shoot tip on a suitable nutrient medium. Second, shoot formation, multiple shoot formations from the cultured explants. Third, rooting of shoots, rooting of an in vitro developed shoots. Point number 4, transplantation, the hardening of tissue culture raised plants and subsequent transplantation to the field. Advantages of micropropagation. These are as follows. Number 1, it helps in rapid multiplication of plants. Number 2, a large number of plantlets are obtained within a short period and from a small space. Third, plants are obtained throughout the year under controlled conditions, independent of seasons. Fourth, sterile plants or plants which cannot maintain their characters by sexual reproduction are multiplied by this method. Point number 5, it is an easy, safe and economical method for plant propagation. Point number 6, in case of ornamentals, tissue culture plants give better growth, more flowers and less fallout. Point number 7, genetically similar plants, that is soma clones, are formed by this method. Therefore, desirable characters, genotype and desired sex of superior variety are kept constant for many generations. Point number 8, the rare plants and endangered species are multiplied by this method and such plants are saved. Module 3, nutritional requirements. The composition of medium for the tissue culture is the most important key factor in successful culture of plant cells. The medium should be accurately defined of inorganic and organic chemical additives so as to provide: first, the nutrient for the survival of the plant cells, tissues and organs under culture, and second, the optimal physical condition of pH, osmotic pressure, etc. In the culture of plant cells, formulating optimum type of medium favorable for in vitro culture was achieved many years ago. The Knoop's 1865 mineral solution was the widely used medium by early investigators. Gothret in 1939 developed callus culture medium from Uspensky and Uspenskaya, that is in 1925, nutrient solution. A systematic study of mineral requirements of plant tissue and organs in culture was made by Marshing and Skoog in 1962, followed by the scientists Linzmeier and Skoog in 1965, Wessel and Hildebrandt in 1966, and Nisch and Nisch 1969, resulting in several media to suit particular needs. Nutrients. A standard basal medium consists of a balanced mixture of macronutrients and micronutrients, usually salts of chlorides, nitrates, sulfates, phosphates and iodides of calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, ferrous, zinc and boron, a carbon source, vitamins, phytohormones and organic additives. Among the above mentioned nutrients, some are essential and some are optional. The essential components includes organic nutrients and organic nutrients like carbohydrates, besides phytohormones and vitamins. Organic additives like natural extract and liquid endosperm are optional. Inorganic salts. Inorganic nutrients of a plant cell culture are those required by the normal plants. The optimum concentration of each nutrient for achieving maximum growth rates varies considerably. The major elements are nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, magnesium, and calcium. Other nutrients such as cobalt, ferrous, boron, zinc, molybdenum, copper, and iodide are microelements. Macroelements. Nitrogen. Of all the mineral nutrients, nitrogen play a vital role in growth and differentiation of cultured tissue. The range of inorganic nitrogen varies from 25 millimoles to 60 millimole according to the requirements. Nitrogen is generally supplied in the form of ammonia along with nitrate. Ammonium ion is nitrogen source is usually unsuitable, probably because under such condition the pH of the medium has a tendency to fall below 5 during culture, resulting in reduced availability of nitrogen. Cells can be grown with ammonia as the sole nitrogen source. When the medium is provided with organic acid such as malate, succinate, citrate or fumarate. Further, the concentration of ammonia nitrogen should not exceed 8 millimole. Generally, nitrates can be used as solo nitrogen source, but often there is a beneficial effect if the media contain ammonium, nitrogen. Phosphorus. Phosphorus is usually supplied in the form of phosphates. It is the primary buffering constituent in tissue culture media. Phosphorus levels greater than 2 millimoles are often inhibitory to growth of tissues. Potassium. The optimum concentration of potassium needed is 20 millimole. At low nitrogen concentration, presence of potassium enhances the formation of somatic embryos. The medium supplemented with potassium nitrate produces more embryos than the medium with ammonium nitrate. Sulfur. The sulfur is provided in the form of sulfates. Besides, the sulfur-containing amino acids like L-cysteine, L-methionine and glutathione are satisfactory source for sulfur. Calcium and magnesium. The optimal concentration of calcium required is 3 millimolar. An antagonism between calcium and magnesium has been demonstrated, and it was found that an increase in the concentration of one element increases the requirement for the other. Microelements. The microelements, that is ferrous, magnesium, boron, zinc, molybdenum, copper and iodine and cobalt have a profound effect on growth of tissue in vitro. The availability of the iron is reduced at high pH due to precipitation. To avoid this, ferrous is supplied as chelated EDTA complex. These elements produce toxic effect if they are applied at higher level. A good growth of tissue can be achieved when the concentration of microelements was reduced to 10% of the original level. Conclusion. Now we have understood the module 1 2 and some part of 3, remaining part of module number 3, 4, 5 and 6 we'll learn in our next episode. With all this information here, we come to end of today's lecture. Do keep in mind what we discussed today. This is the time for you to self-study now. This is Prashant Sahu signing off you. If you want to learn more and enhance your knowledge, you may log on to our website for multiple choice question quizzes LORs, that is on www.cec.nic.in. Till then, keep studying